Welcome, everybody. This is the Pipeline Podcast. Today is July 5th. We got some stories to go over. As usual, you know what the deal is. We're out here giving you the best news, giving you the best conspiracies, giving you the best hot takes, and we do have a pretty good story today. So let me just lead off with this question. Is leftist rhetoric killing cops? You might think no, but check it out. By the end of this video, you might think yes. So we are going to start here with this video here. It's Mom Dami making a pretty insane quote saying like, policing is something that does not create safety. So this guy right now is like the leading Democratic candidate for the mayor of New York City. And it appears that he doesn't believe in the police. That should concern you. If you're like super anti-police, whatever, but what happens when a dude with a gun comes in and tries to rob you? Who are you going to call? You got to have the police, even if you don't like them. Quit being stupid. You're welcome for that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to show the video, and I have more sources like this. And at the end of the episode, we're going to come back to that question. Is leftist rhetoric killing cops? Quite possibly. Let's check out this first video here.
And the city council budget did not do that. And it's just mind-blowing because that is the amount of money that will solve everything. It comes out of an understanding that policing is something that does not create safety. And what we need to do is reinvest into things that are proven indicators and creators of safety. And the city council budget did not do that. And it's just mind-blowing because that is the amount of money that will solve everything.
So yeah, like obviously this clip here is clipped. Like this is not the full audio of what he said. I'm sure he didn't say, hey, if I become mayor, we're going to get rid of the police. It looks like he just has some issues with like the way the budget was allocated for like NYPD, stuff like that. But that's not what matters here. What matters here is clips like these get circulated around and certain people see this clip and agree with it. Like, hey, he's right. ACAB, bro. Fuck out of here. Fuck cops. So that's the first source we have. And I mean, this guy is quite young for a politician, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but he needs to be more careful saying stuff like this, because if it was a worse quote, like he really could have caused like an extremist, like a leftist extremist, to go out and actually harm cops, like stuff like that. No offense, but someone that might have more experience politically would not get caught dead saying these statements. So keep that in mind. He is young. I do give him the benefit of the doubt here. I don't think he actually wants to get rid of all police. I don't think he actually hates police. That's not what matters here. What matters is the words that are being circulated and how people take those words and how they put them in their mind and how they act on them. So that is the first source. Let's check out our next source here. We got Politico. The first American scientific refugees arrive in France. So this is a fake headline here. First, I'll tell you about this story, and I'll show you why it's misleading, because it is misleading. No, American scientists are not leaving the country, but the people that left this country were like, I think it was French scientists that were studying in the country, and they left. That's what this article is about. But you read this title and you think, oh my God, US is having major brain drain right now. All the good scientists are leaving. That's not what's happening here. Please read past the headline. Let's go through this article a little bit. I believe it talks about two of the refugees. And I just kind of want to show you that these aren't American citizens. These aren't American scientists that are fleeing America. This is a dude that was working in America. He's French, and he went back to France. So there's this French university is wooing researchers who feel targeted by the Trump administration. The article says targeted, but like another way to phrase that is this French university is accepting researchers who might have said some harmful things on their social media, potentially. Say you were like super anti-Israel and you were here on a visa to like do research. Yeah, your visa is potentially could be gone any day now. So like it might be a smart choice to like self-deport. But again, it doesn't make him a refugee. He's French. A French guy going back to France, he's not a refugee. He's like a self-deporter type situation, but this guy is like a scientist. So Marseille, France, the first American academics fleeing Donald Trump's America for France have arrived. Yeah, that's absolutely biased. They're not American. So let's see. Last week, this university introduced 8 US-based researchers. So there we go. This is about where they start giving you some truth to the article about the title, past the title, past the first paragraph or little first statement. And then once you get into the article, so they were studying in the US. They're not US citizens. This university in France was saying it's a safe place for science. 8 scientists that were studying in the US decided to go there. And let's talk about the ones that they talk about. I think they only really talk about 2 of these researchers. The EU, it looks like it's kind of playing off of the political climate in the United States right now. And they're trying to brain drain us. But also, there probably are a lot of researchers in the country who don't want to be in the country right now. Think of like a super pro Palestine person that, you know, screamed like death to Israel, like stuff like that. Like if you put that in your social media, you are fucked. If you're on a visa. So it would be a good idea to get out before ICE comes and gets you. The guy who fled likened the situation to Nazi Germany, which is kind of what happens when all this leftist rhetoric keeps getting thrown around. No, the United States is not Nazi Germany. Here it just says that most of these 8 researchers have not signed a contract yet. So like it claims up here that 8 researchers are like scientific refugees, but that's not actually true yet. I believe only 2 of them have actually signed a contract to come to France. This is just a quote here by some guy, James. Doesn't think of himself and fellow academics as refugees, but he does have concerns about Trump. So yeah, that's a pretty logical thought process, not an extreme one. Before this whole scientific refugee thing came out, Brian Sandberg agreed to spend a year researching in France, but they're adding him to this number of 8 refugees. And it's misinformation. I don't see it in this article where they talk about these people. So like here where it says he applied for the Safe Place for Science program, he actually applied a year ago, and now he's making the comment that these education systems are under attack. He already was going to go to this university in the first place. Basically what I'm saying is in this article, they do not state like one person that is actually one American citizen that is actually fleeing right now because they believe they are going to be a scientific refugee. All these 8 people that have arrived either signed up in the past before all this stuff happened politically, or they're not US citizens. It's kind of what I'm saying. Sorry it took so long, but that's what happened here. And the press runs with it and says, oh, American scientists are leaving for France. No, it's not actually the case here. If you keep spreading these kind of like fake news titles, well, obviously people are going to believe it and do it. We got another one about Abrego Garcia. So he's the Maryland father. So you'll see this news title thrown around. Abrego Garcia says he was severely beaten in Salvadorian prison. And you'll probably read it and just believe it and be like, oh yeah, he's in a concentration camp. They beat people. That's what happens. Well, anyway, the president of El Salvador got very mad at this article and released some footage kind of showing that Abrego Garcia is lying here. It's important to look at both sides of the news story. Don't just believe the headline. We just have a video here. Salvadorian president releases prison footage of Abrego Garcia to disprove abuse allegations. So let's check out the video. We got 3 minutes of him not being beaten.
Chris. Nice to meet you. Senator from Maryland.
So we've seen this before. We'll probably skip past it.
Did not get that sense. He said yes. He said he has a blood pressure. Very cursory.
And check these dates. Go back and look at it if you want. If he did get beaten in between those dates, you would see bruising. But basically, the media's trying to make this guy out to be like someone who shouldn't have got deported, when in reality he came to the country illegally, so he can get deported. That's kind of the end of the story here. Whether you like it or not. That's not what matters. Understand that. They got him farm fishing, I guess. They got him lifting weights, not getting beaten. They got him playing soccer, chess. Like I said, the El Salvadorian president, he got mad at those claims that Abrego was getting beaten in prison. He got mad at that. Kind of like a work release program, gardening program, eating food, not being tortured. And then this is him, it looks like, going home to the US, where he is still in jail because currently right now, like if he gets let out of jail, he'll probably just get deported again. So that's fun. But anyway, no, he's not getting beaten in prison. Don't fall for these stupid ass headlines. Don't get mad at the current administration. And don't do anything extreme like shoot a cop because of it. All right, so let's check out our next story. Oh yeah, this is it right here. So this is what happened on the 4th of July. You do have to understand that during the night of 4th of July, there is usually a higher average of shooting than most other days, just because there's a lot of fireworks. It's nice outside, like it's a good time of year, and people get a little bit crazy. There's a lot of partying going on. So it's not uncommon for shootings to happen on the 4th of July, but this one is uncommon. This one was an extremist, so let's go into it. Zero tolerance for attacks at ICE detention center after cop shot near Texas center, DHS says. This comment that they're talking about, they didn't make the zero tolerance comment just because a cop got shot outside this Texas ICE center, but it also relates to the riots in Portland, Oregon. The ICE facility in Portland has been attempted to be broken into multiple times, and there has been actual riots there going on since the LA riots started. The situation there is still out of control. You can blame Newsom mostly for that one. And if you're curious about the LA riots in Newsom, go check out our videos on that. They're great. All Newsom does is just cry and say there's no problem and try to sue Daddy Trump. None of it works. In the meantime, he lets his city burn to the ground just to try to push his narrative so he could be president in the future. And it's like, bro, you're straight white man and you're a Democrat. They're not going to run you, man. What are you doing? You might have to join this new Elon Musk party if you want a shot at being president, Newsom. I don't know what you're doing. A local officer responding to a report of a suspicious person with a gun was shot in Texas Friday night. That's what we want to cover. We want to talk about that. In the Texas incident, several suspects were taken into custody. An officer was shot while responding to a report of a suspicious person near a detention facility and saw a person with a firearm. So that's like an ICE facility. When police tried to approach the suspects, they opened fire on officers with at least one bullet hitting the officer in the neck. So it's like there are people that think they can be in control of things and they know how the world works and how the country should function. And they kind of show up with guns to these ICE facilities and start shooting cops. No, you can't do that. Guys, what are you doing? So he's not dead, the officer, but he is injured. He's still in the hospital. The suspects tried to flee, but they were taken into custody. So it is a developing story. Hopefully we get more info on these people. I mean, I'm going to call it now. These are super alt-left type people, super extremist left-leaning, and they probably turned extremist because of false rhetoric like all these articles we see here. People like DNC mayoral candidate saying policing is something that does not create safety. You see fake news articles like the first American scientific refugees arrive in France, and then you find out that there aren't actually any American refugees that have been named publicly. Stuff like Abrego Garcia says he was severely beaten in prison, in the Salvadorian prison, which is only alleged. And as far as we can tell is not true at all. And then we also have, the LA riots and just how the Democrats, they took days to even admit that there were riots. You mash all that up together, and some person that's just getting fed all these articles that doesn't really know what's going on, like maybe a young person, someone right out of high school, early 20s, trying to get politically involved, and all they do all day is see these headlines, see these attacks on the Trump administration. This is how you get real violence. You got to be careful about that. If you want any more information on topics like these, definitely give the channel a follow. Check us out every Wednesday. We do a long form podcast. Our Wednesday episode this week is going to be a fun one. So we're going to break down the big, beautiful bill. And trust me when I say we're going to go over all the good and all the bad, all the beautiful and all the ugly. And it's probably going to take a while. And we'll be doing it live on Twitch. So check us out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And just really think before you make a decision on your like political views. Like if you really think something is going on, look into it. Like if you actually think like ICE is kidnapping people and deporting them just randomly, look into it. That's not actually the case here. They're not just rounding people up for no reason. They're doing exactly what they've always been doing, except really under Biden. Other than that, it's nothing new. Take care, have a good night, and really look into these things yourself. It does matter. And I'll catch you in the next episode.